Hello, my name is John Cleveland representing Power Up Lubricants. What I'm going to be demonstrating for you today is the superior lubricating qualities of Power Up. We're going to be demonstrating different motor oils. We're going to demonstrate Slick 50, and we're going to show you the comparison under heat, pressure, and contamination, how our products work. And what we're going to be demonstrating it with is what we call a modified version of the OK Timken load test. When I say modified, is this test machine was actually developed for testing the film strength of different greases. We've added an oil cup here to where we can actually create a bath where we can put a film of oil on this Timken race, and what we've got loaded in this holder here is a Timken roller bearing. Now this Timken roller bearing has got a similar hardness of a wheel bearing or any bearing assembly inside of a piece of equipment. So it's case hardened to about 58 C on the Rockwell scale. We've got a Timken roller race here that's got a Timken hardness around a 61 or 62. We've got a 3.5 inch holder and a 10 inch fulcrum here, so every time we put a 1 pound weight on this race, we're going to be creating 35 pounds of pressure per square inch. But because we're not running on a square inch, which is, about half the size of a golf ball, we're running on a very, very small pinhead. And the engineers back at our laboratory tell me that every 1 pound weight on a new surface on that bearing is 7,500 pounds, because we're running on just smaller than a pinhead on that roller bearing. Now what I'm going to do before we start this test is I'm going to do what we call a dry run. We're going to see where this bearing is going to fail without any lubricant or oil added whatsoever. So I'm going to load the bearing holder on there. We're going to turn the machine on. We've also equipped this with an amp meter. As we put more and more load on here, we're adding more and more pressure against this electric motor, which is going to cause that needle to move up. Okay? And so we can also see how well the lubricants that we're going to test today save energy. I'm going to turn the machine on. I'm going to grab some weights. And we've got that thing seized up. Let's give it 4 weights. You see these metals have actually welded together. That's how hot that bearing got. And I'm going to have to break that with my thumb there. And I'm going to show you the wear scar. Okay. Now what we're going to do is turn that bearing to a new spot. Okay, the second step in our demonstration is going to be a run with oil. We've got this cup that we're going to place on here. And we're going to select Mobile 1, which is a synthetic oil, probably the most popular synthetic oil on the market. We'll turn the machine on. And now we got enough oil where you can see that there's a good bead of oil running on top of the race. We're going to turn our bearing to a new spot, which we've done. Now, anything over 4 weights, we're going to contribute to the strength of the Mobile 1. Six weights. Also, I want you to notice where we peak out at on the amp meter. Now let's look at the wear scar. As you'll note, the wear scar is about 20%, 25% less than the scar on the dry run. Now what we're going to do in step 3 is add a popular additive. One of the most popular additives on the market is Slick 50. I believe the recommended ratio is 1 quart to every 5 or 6 quarts, but I'm going to put in 50% just to give Slick 50 the benefit of the doubt. We're going to fill that thing up and put about 50-50, 50% Mobil 1, and we got 50% Slick 50 in there right now. Now we're going to take these 6 weights off. Any improvement over 6 weights we're going to attribute to the Slick 50. Let's turn our bearing again to a new spot. We've got a clear hanger. Grab us some weight. Seven. Slick 50 actually added 1 weight extra over Mobil 1. Also, let's take a look at where our amp meter is peaking out once we seized up. Okay, that concludes our test with the additive. Okay, now we're going to do our run with power up. I'm going to discard the Mobil 1 and the Slick 50, and we're just going to use a good grade oil put out by a reputable manufacturer. I'm selecting Havoline 10W40. And we're going to add a little bit of Power Up. Now, Power Up is a 100% petroleum-based oil fortifier that combines the finest components put together in an additive package that modern technology can provide. Let's add some Power Up in and see what happens. The amp meter is running at just over 5 amps. Okay, we're going to put the bearing back on. I want you to listen to the difference. What's happened there is you heard a little metal-metal contact, but it's smoothed right out. The boundary lubrication in Power Up lubricants actually works under severe loads and severe pressures. We're actually running under what we call hydrodynamic lubrication, where those 2 metal surfaces are hydroplaning across a thin film of oil. Now, as we continue to add more and more weight, once we start coming into contact with metal, we call that boundary lubrication. I also want you to get a tight close-up on the amp meter and notice that at 7 weights, the needle hasn't moved 1 bit. Okay, now what I'm going to do is continue to add more weight. Now we've got over 14 weights on here, exactly